Hey guys, thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to be talking about XRP. If you guys like this content, please subscribe down below and like the video. Be sure to leave any comments if you guys want to see different types of graphs. I do actually read those comments, all of them, and try to take them into account. Today we're going to be looking at the total number of XRP traded versus price with a color-coded time dimension. I'm going to go ahead and start playing it because it does take about 5 minutes to play. XRP has been around for quite a long time, and so there's a lot of data points to go through here. So what we're showing, again, is XRP traded versus price. I used to show volume versus price, but since they're super highly correlated, it does make sense to go ahead and just show the number of the total number of XRP tokens traded versus price. And you can see that the coloring on these occurs just as the date. So for instance, the dark blue is around 2014, the lighter blue, a little bit lighter blue is around 2015, very light cyan blue is around 2016, the green and the yellow is 2017, orangish to the light red is 2018, and then as we get into 2019, it becomes the dark red. Now, one of the things that I like about these graphs is I like to make them, play them, and then try to spot any patterns that might occur before we see any breakouts. And it can be hard when you're stuck on the day-to-day stuff to see these patterns. But one of the things we're looking at are these columns that are essentially built. So we have at a given price, we slowly, build out a single or several different columns where we see the number of XRP traded increasing, but at a constant price. So we're basically establishing a strong region of support in a given channel, and you can see we're doing it again. We're basically making these columns here, and we do it time and time again, and at some point we finally see a breakout. And those breakouts then occur very quickly, and they kind of curve upwards before trying to find a new level of support. So here you can see that column being built out really nicely. That light blue, it's basically just they're all basically just being built over top of one another, and it shows that we're creating a huge level of support in this region where the volume of tokens traded is. It's not really affecting the price. And then at some point, you can see that after establishing support for a given period of time, we'll start to quickly move into a new region. And once we move into that region, we don't really look back. We don't come back to where we previously were. We might see a correction, but the correction is within the next little area. So you can see these columns here that are kind of established, and then once we've established these over and over and over again, we've then seen this big move up to a new region on the diagram. And you can see then we start building out an accumulation region, and we start to build these columns again. And you can see that between 10 to the minus 2 to 10 to the minus 1, so 10 to the minus 2 is around a penny, and then 10 to the minus 1 is 10 cents. There's really not a whole lot going on there. There's not, we moved past that region. We jumped from one region to the next. And here again, you can see those columns being built out. You can see these columns that are coming out from traded tokens to versus price. And then after we've done that for a number of months, each of these data points represents 1 day. So after we've done that for a number of months, then we see another breakout similar to the one we saw over here. And instead of going from 10 to the minus 2 to 10 to the minus 1 or a little above it, we're going from around 10 to the minus 1 up to 10 to the 0. So I think it's kind of interesting to see these trends, and to note that currently we are not exactly seeing these long columns that have historically developed before a very significant move up. Each time XRP has seen one of these moves up, we've seen a pretty obvious column develop on the XRP traded versus price curve, and right now we're basically just all over the place. and trying to find some support. And I did mention that once we break out to a new area, we don't really return, and it's mostly true. I mean, you can see this last area. If this were a heat map, it would be centered around this region over here, and this one would actually be centered over here. So while there might be some overlap, it's not it's not going all the way back. We haven't gone all the way back down to having an average value of, say, 15 to 17 or 20 cents. We're still above that accumulation region. Another thing is, each time we move up this curve, versus price, we are increasing the number of XRP traded. So, over here we're all the way down to 10 to the 6, which is 1 million tokens, and we increased this all the way to 1 billion before we really saw a large breakout. And if we were to rewind this, you can see that here, when we saw this breakout, again, it happened very quickly. We established this new region over here, and you can see those distinct columns forming. And once we did that, we increased our tokens traded all the way up to around 10 to the 10 at the peak, built out a new region over here, and we've been trying to find support ever since. And until we really start to build out these columns that we've seen in the past, so this you can see over here, look at all these columns that are being really established on this graph. Again, here you can see those columns coming in, this column and this column, and even more so this column. We're not really seeing that at the present time, and I think it's pretty obvious why. I mean, the market is not in a it's not full on bull mode right now. Bitcoin is Bitcoin drives the market, and until Bitcoin can get above the 20-week moving average and hold it as support, it has needed to do that in the past to historically stay in a bull run. And until it can do that, it has we're not really in a bull market. And historically, XRP, in terms of its Bitcoin ratio, needs to get closer to historically, a strong buy region is around 10 to the minus 5 or so. I'll make another video and show you guys. If you haven't seen, I made a ripples in time report at intothecryptoverse.com, so you can check that out. Remember to subscribe to the content if you guys like this. I'm trying to build the channel right now. I like to show you guys different graphs. We're not gonna, the main purpose of the channel isn't just to show you stuff you've seen on the other 100,000 crypto YouTubers out there. We're primarily trying to go over new material and look at things in a different way than has historically been looked at. And as I've mentioned before, that doesn't mean we won't ever look at typical price charts, but we're going to try to focus on these other ways of looking at things. So I'd like to know what you guys think. I mean, clearly, seeing a column on this graph isn't necessarily a fundamental reason to see the price go up, potentially. I mean, it is what it is. It's just we look at it and we try to see what patterns are occurring, which are going to cause come right before a large price move. And it seems like we see these columns form where the price is essentially constant, and the number of XRP tokens traded is varying quite a bit. So we can, I think it's a good case to say that if we continue to update these graphs in the future, maybe we can start to predict when a future breakout would occur, if instead of seeing points just, conglomerating everywhere with no clear trend, if we start to see these columns forming, well, then maybe that means, all right, guys, it's time to start, getting into maybe potentially increasing your position in XRP. Now, in the last market cycle, XRP had two primary times where it saw huge increases in value, which correspond to this move and then the other move. And that was when Bitcoin reached its previous all-time high, and at the end of Bitcoin's bull run. So those are the two primary times. So if you think about it, XRP, the price could essentially stay the same, and if Bitcoin were to go to 20,000, then we would get into that super strong buy region that we've been in before, where it really makes sense to potentially look into buying. And I would like to actually just quickly show you guys this graph. So if you just go to into thecryptoverse.com and we look at this chart. I made this chart quite a while ago actually, so it's not up to date. The report I made is several months old, but we did make this report on XRP, and if we were to maximize this and scroll down to that chart I am speaking about, which is just XRP Bitcoin, which I suppose I could pull up on TradingView. But you can see that anytime the price of XRP with respect to Bitcoin reached 10 to the minus 4 or around this area, it was a great time to start selling, at least to start selling portions and to lock in those profits. And anytime we reached 10 to the minus 5, historically, it was a great time to start buying. Now, this isn't always the case. We don't always make it down that far. You can see here, right before 2018, we didn't make it to 10 to the minus 5. And in fact, we saw another spike up to the same point that we saw at the beginning of the year when Bitcoin reached its previous all-time high. So these ripples, as I like to call them, occur quickly. And I think it's fairly safe to say that until Bitcoin really gets moving again, we're not going to be seeing a huge breakout. So this right here is not up to date. So this was made in July 7th, so several months ago at this point. But this is another graph. I would look to see if we're approaching 10 to the minus 5. You can look at this on things like TradingView or wherever you don't have to go to TradingView. You can just look at the price of XRP. But if we were to reach that point, I think that would be a very strong buy signal if you want to go based off historical patterns. You can see we've never gone past this point down here, which is, let's see, so 1, 2, 3, 4, so around 4 times 10 to the minus 6. That has held strong support 2 times in the past. And if it were to happen again, then I imagine if we got down to that region, we might also see another order of magnitude, at least, potentially, run up in the price with respect to Bitcoin. So what are we going to be looking for? We're first going to look to see if Bitcoin can at some point get above the 20-week moving average, which may be several months away. It might be a half a year away. It might be a year away. It's impossible to really know exactly when that's going to occur. But once it does get above it, then we can really start to look at potential moves with XRP to the upside. Until then, we might see small moves up, small moves down. There's nothing wrong with that. But in terms of seeing, real powerful moves, like, historical moves like this one, and this one, in order to see that, Bitcoin has to become, the market has to be in a healthier state. So remember, if you guys like the video, please subscribe, turn your notifications on so you don't miss a video. And if you guys have any ideas for other videos, be sure to let me know. If you would like to see any specific videos for certain coins, you can let me know, and I will read those, and if I think they're worthwhile ideas, I will make a video for them. Alright guys, that's it for this time. I will talk to you guys next time.